This is Justin AMZN on Wednesday, November 13th, 2019. Uh, right at pre-market, we were getting this really small bullish candle, and it looked like it was going to be bouncing right about the same level that we came into some lows uh, yesterday. And right at open, it pushed right on through that. So it made a new low from yesterday, um, made a bullish candle here that had a nice upper wick, trapping any bulls going bullish right here, getting in on this bounce, which worked so well yesterday and just didn't really work too well today. And then we proceeded to take out the low of that candle as well as take out the opening low. High wave candle here, again, looking like it was going to have a little bit of bullishness. You had an increase in volume, again, just trapping people, and it rolled over. This is a really nice evening star reversal, starting to break down. Paused right here on our downtrend channel, and then broke down. And everything else from there, really, we couldn't get above the 21 today. Technically, we did on these three closes. And if you're looking at it in terms of where I say it shouldn't be up here, it was that kind of idea here where, oh, we got some bullishness, some buying. Where is this buying coming from? We're in the 1750s down here. Is it just because we're in the 1750s? I mean, the next target is 1747, which, by the way, we almost hit. We were 32 cents off of that. Here, let me switch over to the daily. We were 6 cents past our line at 1815.06, and we rolled over. It came straight down. Really, I mean, not straight down. It took us a few more days than it has normally taken us to get from this level to this level. But it just kind of kept grinding lower. This was up here was basically, we shouldn't be up here yet. I think I was saying that. I'd have to go back and watch videos to figure out which day I said that, but it made sense. We had this pullback. But today, this was a bearish gap and go that really just went and trapped any bulls that were in yesterday. It goes right along with this bearish moment, or the waning bullish momentum, the squeeze. Now we have an increase in bearish volume. We're slamming right into a pivot. And so if there's any chance now for this to hold, it's got to stay above this. I don't know that it's going to do that. It could easily come down a little bit lower even this week and really contend with some of the lows here and even this earnings day low. So we'll see what happens. But back to today, any of these plays going bearish off of the 21 worked really well. And then just this happened. We had a squeeze, we had some consolidation, we were going bearish all day long. And then all of a sudden, it just went. And that's when it just pushed straight down to 1747. A little bit of bouncing there, but not too much. This looks like a bigger double bottom. And so that really has me concerned that there's a lot of bulls right here, trying to push this higher off of this level. If we gap down again, those bulls are going to be trapped, and we could just roll over. From here, well, not roll over. Sorry, we just continue lower from here. We got below the downtrend channel. The neckline of the downtrend channel here is really this line is the neckline of this double bottom. So it's kind of interesting just seeing what we kind of formed right here. And you have a little bit of a triangle forming. So pre-market, if we're still in this range, this is going to look like a triangle. I'm always looking for triangles. And you kind of had one with the 21 coming down and then kind of a flat bottom here. That broke down. I'm looking for triangles to give you some consolidation and then, a bigger move than normal. That's kind of what I'm looking for. So anyway, if we look at puts on this is the 1750 put. All day long, it gave you opportunities to buy really at the dollar increments. So you could have tried to buy at 3 right out the gate. I'm not sure if you would have been buying there anyway. But if you had just waited a little bit and saw, this looks like it's a little more bearish, well, you could have waited and gotten in 4 by 3. or you could wait even longer, get in 5x4, or wait even longer, get in 6x5. And if you had gotten in 6x5, you were in for this. For this move, going from 6, doubling up to 12. And because it was running right into the 1747 price, you should have had a target up here. Maybe it wasn't 12, maybe it was 13, didn't quite get there, but as it's moving, I mean, maybe you didn't even have 12 set. Maybe you just had, 10 or something, or 11, but it moved so quickly that, hey, maybe you got a better fill. I don't know. But that would have been, let's even say if you got in at 6 and we're looking for this to move all the way up to say 10, that's still 4 hours, but this is one of those where it's showing you, the options are showing you, hey, we're going bearish. We're the level is holding. We even have a trend line to this, which is really cool to see. It's like, okay, this is really working well when you have this kind of a trend line where we're pulling into this level and holding that. Along with that, if you look at something a little further out of the money, you should see it flatten out a little bit more, or just be shallower. In this case, we kind of had that still a downtrend, or an uptrend on the put, and it matches up with the downtrend in the stock. In this case, you still could have been buying up till the point around 2. Even doing 2x1 all day on this option would have worked to get 2 hours out of it. Going up from 2 to 4. Going a little further. Let's see if the option flattens out. It should flatten out one of these. Okay, this is a little flatter. So we're pretty much the same level. We're under $1, absolute zero play. You bought it at $1. If it moves, great. You'll just scalp an R. It moved up to 2. It still works. So just about anything, if you played it bearish today, so obviously, first of all, playing it bearish, but if you played anything off the 21, any option, and played it off the 21, you would have been exiting for a gain, anytime later. And let me say again, not anytime later in the day, because this one came right back down to $1 right at the close. But if you were in off the 21 and took profits close to 1747, you were still up on the trade. Let's say this move, or even some of the retracement of this move. If you were exiting anywhere down in here after getting it up here on any of these options in the 1700s or higher, you should have had a nice gain. Something, those are nice days to be set up that way. I always like to be in those when they're moving, and this one just gave you a really nice bearish gap and go setup. And yeah, we just went lower. I should have been talking about this yesterday more. I just was hoping, I guess, that it was going to bounce bullish. I like that this bounced so well here, but what I noticed is looking at it today, seeing the move we had down here, I really want to kind of talk about these, this day or day and a half or so, because this is where we were running into the resistance up here yesterday. And from this level, here, let me sketch it. So from this level, we made this triangle, we broke down and came all the way back down into, this downtrend channel, this downtrend channel here. Well, we just pretty much did the same thing. Didn't have as clean of a triangle. We had kind of a triangle. I don't even know if I call it a triangle, but let's just say, even if it's not the triangle, we were into this level here. We came down to this level here with a very short amount of time for that to happen. Again, we're in this level here. We got into this level here. Took a little bit longer to go from here all the way down to here, but it still made it. And if we were looking at, if yesterday, recapping on this, I had just kind of sketched this thing out like, hey, if we move down this far, then maybe we'll get a good entry going bearish at the open, and we should get down to, let's say, 1755, and you can get into puts with that as a target, and if it goes past it, great, but that's a good place to look for a target if we get a continuation of the bearish move. I should have been talking about it because it was pretty obvious looking back. We just repeated this, but we did even further. We came all the way down below the channel, which we hadn't done yet the way this has been drawn. especially not from way up here, on this second downtrend channel. So all that to say, there's things in here that hindsight is going to help us figure out. We're way down here now, so hopefully some folks got into some bearish moves on this, and just got to be careful of what your bias is, what you're thinking. If you're, I was thinking bullish with this bounce, and I wasn't getting in bullish here, but I was still looking and thinking, oh, we could bounce here. It didn't happen, and just waiting a little longer. Getting in after a candle makes that move. Getting it up here, getting above the selling pressure here. It wouldn't have triggered me in. And on the flip side, getting in below the low, hey, it retested here, still gave you opportunities to get in bearish, all along the way until finally it had a bigger move. And you really could have been waiting. It still went sideways for, around 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours. It was going sideways. I mean, probably this range, 2.5 hours. It still did that, just like it did last week, and we were kind of tracking that a little bit extra. But you definitely got a triangle here, and it could have gone the other way. It could have bounced from here, which meant it would have held, above this downtrend channel, the lower end, which would have, seemed more bullish. But today, with the bearish gap and go, it just had a much more bearish edge, and a lot harder for it to go bullish. So that's where the risk was. Setting a stop up on a bullish, potential retracement going bullish. But if you set up the trade going bearish, like I said, you should have made something. So hope that helps. This is just AMZN. Thanks.